So yesterday I was watching an old cartoon I used to like, Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I saw the amazing strokes they used on this show. Now this was done with a more traditional art style, but I thought it might be interesting to try and replicate a similar effect in After Effects. So you can see I have an empty composition here, and I'm going to be using a plugin called Overlord. So Overlord is by a company called Battleaxe. It's a one-time payment, and essentially it allows you to easily import any vectors to and from After Effects and Illustrator. So I'm going to start with these background objects here on the shelf. Press this push selection to AE. It imports them directly into there, including all of their properties and their stroke settings. I'm just going to skip through importing these. Okay, there we go. So the scene is now fully imported into After Effects. So what I'm going to do is apply this wobble effect to the stroke. So we're going to take these shelves to begin with, as they're quite simple. Under Contents, what we can do is tap this Add button here. And there's just a simple one called Wiggle Paths. So as you can see, this adds this weird kind of fuzzy effect, which is automatically animated. What I'm going to do is just add some settings in here to make it a little bit better. So the size, which is kind of how big the wave is, we're going to keep that really small at 1.5. The detail is kind of how close together each of the waves starts and stops. For that one, we're also going to lower it down to 2 for these. For the wiggles per second, so by default, it moves kind of sluggishly. You know, it hardly even looks like anything. To get that really strong effect like on Ed, Edd and Eddy, I'm going to up that speed all the way up to 15. Okay, now that I have the wiggle settings that I'm quite happy with, I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go into each of these objects. So I'm going to apply it to this. So you can see, because the desk is larger than the other object on it, it's actually not quite wiggling in the right way. So that I can animate the desk separately, I'm actually going to separate this into a separate layer. So I'm just going to do that, go into Contents, delete these two from this one, and delete this one from that one. So now we have the desk on one and the objects on the other. Okay, there we go. So for the desk itself, I'm going to change this around a little bit. I'm going to try adding more detail to this, try and bring that a little bit closer. So you can see we're kind of getting there. As this is a much bigger object, we need to really up that detail level. There we go, that will do for now. Okay, and then we're going to just go through and keep applying this to the rest of the objects as well. And as well for the head, I'm going to try and lessen the effects a little bit because we still want to try and keep the detail. So I'm going to push that down to 1. I'm going to change the detail down to 1 as well. And then we should end up with a slightly smoother effect there. There we go. And there we go. We've managed to add a nice little wobble animation to this composition. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to animate this scene whilst keeping the width of the stroke the same, even when you're zooming in and out. So what I mean by this is, as I zoom in on this object, these strokes are getting thicker, and I want to make it so that it always stays the same thickness as I zoom around the scene. So stay tuned for the next video, and yeah, I'll see you soon.